Your years are quietly speeding up, faster and faster, every single one. And the strangest part is that your own brain is the one pressing down on the gas. Think back to being a kid, when one single summer felt like it stretched on forever, an endless golden ocean of afternoons that simply would not end. And now whole years seem to vanish before you've even had the chance to unpack them. Gone almost the moment they arrive, the calendar flipping past you faster than you can read it. But this strange speeding up is not just your imagination playing tricks on you, because there is a real, almost mechanical reason quietly hiding underneath the whole thing. Start with something simple. Think carefully about what one single year actually means to you in real proportion at completely different ages of your life. To a 5-year-old child, 1 year is an enormous fifth of their entire existence, a vast and weighty chunk of everything they have ever known. But to a 40-year-old, that exact same year is barely a 40th of their life, a thin little sliver swallowed by everything that came before. So with every birthday you cross, the year ahead becomes a smaller and smaller slice of the total amount of life you have already lived through. Scientists call this the proportional theory of time, and it genuinely does explain a surprising amount of that shrinking, slipping feeling. And yet proportion all by itself still can't quite capture the whole eerie, slippery strangeness of how fast it all feels, because something deeper is going on inside your head. That's because, deep down, your brain doesn't actually measure the passing of time with anything resembling a real clock at all. Instead, it quietly estimates how much time has passed by counting up how many fresh, new memories it managed to capture and store along the way, like notches on a stick. When you collect lots of new memories, a stretch of time feels long and full and rich, packed tight with things that actually happened. But gather only a few new memories, and that very same stretch of time feels thin and hollow, as if it barely even happened at all. This is exactly why childhood feels so impossibly enormous, because it is crammed wall to wall with brand new experiences arriving nonstop. Your very first wobbling bike ride, your first thunderstorm rattling the windows at night, your first time standing barefoot at the edge of the endless, roaring sea. Back then, almost every single day handed you yet another brand new first, and a true first is something the mind simply cannot help but burn into memory forever. So your young brain recorded the whole world in vivid, heavy, high-resolution detail, saving everything as if it all truly mattered. Then adulthood quietly arrives, and one by one, almost without you noticing, the supply of genuine firsts slowly begins to run dry. The same morning commute, the same familiar desk, the same coffee in the same mug, repeating itself over and over, day after day after day. And by now your brain has already seen every tiny bit of it 1,000 times before, so it stops paying close attention and simply lets the whole day wash right past unnoticed. So rather than carefully recording the moment, your brain simply shrugs and files the whole day away, under same as always. Nothing to see here. Days that feel basically identical to one another get quietly squashed and compressed together into almost nothing at all, leaving barely the faintest trace behind them. And that is precisely why an entire month of pure routine can blur together into a single foggy, featureless smudge you can hardly recall. Now flip the whole thing around, because novelty, anything truly new, does the exact opposite to that strange inner clock of yours. Something new and unfamiliar suddenly forces your sleepy brain to snap wide awake and pay close, hungry, wide-eyed attention to absolutely everything happening around it. And that sharp, focused, fully present attention is the exact ingredient your mind needs in order to lay down rich, deep, beautifully detailed memories that actually stick. Those dense, heavy memories then stretch the time out in hindsight, making even a short stretch feel like it lasted far longer than it did. It's the reason just 3 days exploring a brand new city can somehow feel weightier and longer than an entire ordinary month back home. Because in that unfamiliar place, your brain treated every street corner, every strange smell, every passing face as something genuinely new and absolutely worth recording forever. But here's a strange little twist quietly hiding inside even your very favorite vacations, one that catches almost everyone off guard. While you are actually living inside a wonderful holiday, the days feel slow and relaxed and gloriously long, in no hurry to end. And yet the very moment it's over and you're back home, the entire trip suddenly feels like it flew past in the blink of an eye. The reason is that you are secretly carrying around two completely separate and very different senses of time inside your head. One clock ticks away while you are actively living through a moment, measuring it in real time as it unfolds right in front of you. The other clock only ever looks backward over your shoulder, judging how long a stretch of time was purely by the memories you kept. So in the moment, doing something fun and relaxing feels slow and gently stretched out, because you are right there savoring and soaking up every single last drop of it. But comfortable, familiar fun leaves behind only a few sharp, distinct memories for that backward-looking clock to ever measure later. And so in memory, that lovely long trip collapses and folds down into one quick, bright, fleeting flash that's over almost instantly. And now here comes the part that almost nobody ever stops to truly realize about this entire strange phenomenon of vanishing time, the part that quietly changes everything. Time itself isn't really speeding up at all. It only feels that way because your brain's recording of it has quietly slowed down, capturing less and less of each passing year, which means, incredibly, you actually have the power to reach in and stretch your own years right back out again, fatter and fuller. Not by somehow finding more hours in the day, since everyone gets the same 24, but by deliberately feeding your brain more genuinely new and unfamiliar experiences. So now take a moment and think really honestly about the year you have only just finished living through, all 12 months of it. If it raced past you in a single dizzy blur, it's almost certainly because very little of it was actually new, and most of it just quietly repeated what came before. Your days were busy and full from morning to night, and yet your memory jar somehow still ended up almost completely empty. So from now on, deliberately take the new road, the unfamiliar place, the slightly scary new attempt, and choose it on purpose. Because every single first you choose for yourself becomes another bright, vivid, completely unmistakable mark carved deep onto the long timeline of your one and only life. Chase the unfamiliar on purpose, again and again, and your brain quietly wakes up and starts truly recording your life all over again. And the beautiful thing is that this doesn't have to mean expensive plane tickets or faraway adventures at all. It can simply be a new skill picked up on a quiet weekend, a strange book opened, or a completely different street walked home on for the very first time. It can be a real conversation with a total stranger, a recipe you've never once dared to try, or a song in a language you have never heard a single word of before. Each one of these tiny little firsts quietly drops one more fresh, distinct memory into your jar, and slowly, steadily, one by one, your year begins filling itself back up again. Because in the end, when you look back across your whole life, you won't be remembering the hours. You'll be remembering the moments. And the people who feel, looking back, like they lived the longest and fullest lives are almost never the ones who simply sat still and waited the most patiently for time to pass. They are the ones who stayed endlessly curious, who kept saying a brave little yes to things they had never once done before. And the very best moment to start collecting brand new memories all over again isn't some far-off, imaginary someday. It is honestly today, right here, right now, this very moment. Even one small, slightly unfamiliar thing, done quietly today, becomes the very first new box dropped into a jar that has been sitting empty and waiting for far, far too long. Keep dropping them in, one brave little first at a time, and watch and wonder as your weeks slowly grow heavier, richer, slower, and far more alive than they ever were before. Your years will keep quietly speeding up, faster and faster, right up until the day you finally give your brain something brand new to remember.